ahead of our feature race. And we'll just walk along and take a look at some of the candidates. You can see Sceaux in here. Ben from Willie Mullins is just saddling him with Virginie, who's been looking after him since the start of his career, is just at the other side of him. And Willie overseeing, as always, making sure that everything is done to the best. And we'll just walk along a little bit further and see some of the other Willie Mullins runners. We've got Min in here. See, Min has just been looked after. David Casey and Pierre Boulard doing the job of putting the saddle on Min, and he's looking in amazing shape after his run at Aintree. And if we walk a little bit further along, we'll see the British raider in this race, and this is Harry Fry's runner in this race, and he's taking it all in his stride. He's looking really well ahead of this race, and Harry's just putting the finishing touches to Hell's Kitchen. And we just pan back around, then the last of the Willie Mullins' runners, who's still in the parade ring at the moment, pre-parade ring, is number 2, Great Field. You heard from Jody McGarvey earlier about his chances in this race, and he's already saddled and ready to go in our feature race.
Yes, on the Sceaux, of course, won it last year where men disappointed, but he's been scintillating this time round, including in his latest victory at Aintree. Simply imperious men. He's the odds-on favourite behind us at 6-4 on favourite, but we'll show you the runners and riders for this year's renewal of the Boyle Sports Champion Steeplechase. It is, look at the total prize money, 300 grand, 177 to the winner, 60 for the second, 30 grand if you're third, 15 fourth and 9 and 6 for fifth, and 6, 9-2 winner last year. The ground is yielding, but it's tiring, as Ted alluded to, if the Killishi handicap hurdle is anything to go by. 1 Castle Grace Paddy, and there'll be no hanging around here. Blinking, you'll miss them over this 2 miles. Castle Grace Paddy, Davy Russell. 2 Great Field, Jody McGarvey. 3 Hell's Kitchen, Mark Walsh. 4 is Min, Ruby Walsh. 5 Ordinary World, Rachel Blackmore. And 6 Sceaux, the horse that needs no introduction, the old boy of the party at 11, Tom Lee. This is going to be all about speed, jumping accuracy.
Yeah, this is a must-watch. It will be a thriller. Min has been, pardon the phrase, but he's been merciless. He's finally got his act together and is getting the credit a horse of his talent and ability deserves. And I think the real thing he's added to his game is consistency. He's the right horse to be favourite. The drop-in chip should be no harm whatsoever. But will there be enough petrol left in the tank after hard races the last twice? He's been brilliant this spring, but you just have to question. This is a race where favourites have a somewhat dicey record. You've got to go all the way back to the great sprinter Sacre 6 years ago, and he was 1-9 to find a winning market leader in this contest. Money for Sceaux 11-4 from 3-1. He won this race 12 months ago. More interesting are the outsiders being back, Brian. Great Field was price-wise in today's paper. It's not him, though. Hell's Kitchen is 16-1 from 25-1, and the other one is Cork's Hilly Way Chase winner, Castle Grace Paddy, who loves to get his toe in. Every drop of moisture that hits that track increases his chance. Pat Fahey will be absolutely delighted to see the rain coming. He'd love it to absolutely pelt down with rain right now. 25 from 33-1. It isn't an electric betting contest. The right horse is favourite, but it has been a race for upsets. Sceaux, Castle Grace Paddy and Hell's Kitchen all value alternatives to Min, despite his brilliant spring.
Min might be odds on, but this young man might have the right scarf. Who's going to win?
Sceaux.
Yay! Go on, Sceaux!
We'll see. We'll have a look at them in the paddock now. And Castle Grace Paddy, the first we get a look at. He's a real good sort. It is a 25-1 shot. He was brilliant winning the Hilly Way. He tipped up at the first at Leopardstown in February in the race won by Min. And then at Cheltenham, well, he was 6 behind Altio. So he's got a mountain to climb on that. He's biting off a bit today, but good horse he is.
Yeah, these are all good horses in their own right. They're stepping up in a grade 1. There is Great Field, bowls along, runs with his heart in his sleeve. You heard Jody speaking earlier on there, and he's on the floor the last twice, but that's him. He cuts loose, has a go. If it works, he looks magic, and if it doesn't, he could end up on the floor. But he's a good leopard, but a brave leopard. He just doesn't take, he throws it wind to it.
Hell's Kitchen has come here with good credentials. He's trained by Harry Fry. Harry's got 7 or 8 entries through the week. He's a son of Robin Deschamps. Now, you know, if you look at his Cheltenham form, he's got every chance because he was 4th behind Altio with Min behind him, and then you look at his entry form and he's got about 20 lengths to make up on Min. So he's got a mountain to climb on entry form, but good chance on Cheltenham form. Interesting to see how he runs.
Here we have Min. He's won over 2 and he's won over 2.5. You would say he was going to win at 2 at Liverpool. It was 2.5. He ran disappointing at Cheltenham. They decided to hold him up, and he just never let himself down. Quicker ground as well too. Won at Leopardstown over 2, and he won the Durkin Brothers here. he's entitled to be favoured. Whether he's entitled to be 13 to 8 on, it's up to yourself whether you want to back a horse to jump 12 fences at 13 to 8 on, but he's definitely the best horse in the race on form this year anyway.
Ordinary World, the next we've got to look at, and he is a really consistent sort. He hasn't won, in fact, for about 2.5 years, but he's collected decent place money all the way through, and I think he might do the same again today. In fact, all he has to do is stay on his feet to collect place money, because there is money for the first 6 home, and 6 runners. There are 300,000 to be spread about.
And finally, number 6, Sceaux. I was just saying to Robert as I'm walking around here, what a lovely sound horse he is, a lovely clean set of limbs, not a blemish on him. He's had plenty of runs, and he's hard on himself every time he runs. He really captured the public imagination, because he's daredevil running along and let them go. He's owned by the O'Connell family there, and what fun he has given them, and everybody that watches him. And we hope he runs a big race here today, and if the favourite doesn't click, I'd say this fella might do so. Min will want to be on his best behaviour. What a horse Sceaux has been. $1.5 million in prize money.
Wonderful. 11-year-old he is now?
He's 11-year-old, but he's loads of enthusiasm, loves the game.
Ted, when he won a year ago, he had Min back in 4th place. Yeah, we've got, same conditions, but Min, hot favourite. Min has gone to Cheltenham, he's gone to Aintree. How can we tell that Min is, in the whole of his health after
Well, you can't tell. I'm sure you're going relying on Willie. Willie is happy with what he's doing at home. He's obviously getting the right vibes from the lads who are riding him, and he thinks it's 100%. It's the obvious place to come. But you never know till you line up. Sceaux, the same way, he was at Cheltenham, he ran well in the Ryanair, just wasn't good enough to win on the day, but he ran a good race. He's been lightly raced this year. He could put in a huge performance here. They don't know, but I mean, Willie's training for different people. He's got to run them all where he thinks to have a chance of winning. All 3 of them are fit and well and doing their best, and he's probably on the book, is what we're looking at. Min is the top one.
I hope they all stay on their feet anyway. It'll be one heck of a race. 300,000. Here's Tracy.
Supporter, Harry Fry here beside me. He's always a great supporter of the Punchestown Festival, and this year is no different. And he has Hell's Kitchen here, of course, who was 4th in the champion chase behind Min, and he's a lovely big horse, and he loves to get his toe in, doesn't he, Harry?
Yeah, definitely pleased to see a bit of rain, and I know he's on ratings, he's got plenty to find with Min and obviously under Sceaux as well, so we're under no illusions he's up against it, but he's here to take his chance, and we'll hope for the best.
And how has he been since the race?
Yeah, he's been good. He's as you say, he's a big boy. He can be a bit over exuberant, that's why he's in the hood, but hopefully it looks like there'll be plenty of pace today, so we don't need to worry about that.
You love coming here to the festival. How many have you brought over this year?
Yeah, it's been a lucky meeting for us. We brought 9 over, so our biggest team yet, so hopefully we can come away with something at the end of the week.
Who else should we be looking out for?
They're running a nice horse called Carry Bear in the 4:55 tomorrow, who's had 1 start over hurdles and the 2nd, and then we've got Manila Awards later.
I'm down here at the start, and Paddy Graffin, the starter, has just announced that there's 3 minutes before the start of the race. So the horses have just gone a bit away. They came up to this fence behind us, and they had a look at it, and now they've gone a bit of a way to have a walk around before Paddy Graffin calls them back up. They're just walking around. Everything's pretty quiet. Hell's Kitchen was a little bit free coming to the start. Mark Walsh just took him away from the others. But everything else is pretty quiet, and there was nothing really to report, but a really exciting renewal of this champion chase ahead of us.
Robert, between racing is actually too much. I know it's to fit it in with television and screens and everything else, but it's particularly in flat racing. I mean, 35 minutes is a long time when you come racing from one race to the next. People wonder why people get bored racing, but Jesus.
Well, festivals, there's money to be taken everywhere, not just in the bookmaker satchels, in the bars, and there's a lot of people here. And also, 3 mile chase obviously takes considerably longer than a 5 furlong sprint.
35 minutes in a flat car now was to have plenty of times. It's a long time, race over in 2 minutes. Well,
they were having it at the Curragh for the last couple of years when the weigh room was so far away from the parade ring. That was a good reason, because it was. But that's all going to change. What an exciting time we've got ahead of us there. Ted, there'll be no hanging about here. We've got front runners half the field. So
yeah, we've got plenty of front runners. Paddy Graffin is our starter. The lads have a couple of minutes to walk around. These all horses are not on edge. They're going easy enough. Bar unforeseen. If something happens between Sceaux and Min, they should be between the 2 of them.
A little bit of betting.
Yes, indeed, down here in the ring. Last few moments as the runners circulate 4-6, the price about Min. Last year's winner, Under Sceaux, 11-4 from 3-1. Great field shows at 8-1. Very strongly tipped up by certain judges in today's trade paper. There is money for the outsiders. Castle Grace Paddy, 20-1 from bigger prices earlier. And also Hell's Kitchen, who was 25-1 this morning. A little bit of value play being sought there with numbers 1 and 3 on your race card. 40-1, the outsider of 6. That is Ordinary World. Won't be long now.
They're just about to line up here. Intriguing contest. Under Sceaux could go head-to-head with Great Field. Will that throw it into the hands of Min, as Colin White said? But it does look as though Min is a very short price. He was beaten in this last year. He finished behind Hell's Kitchen at Cheltenham. Those backing him are backing him on the strength of what we saw at Aintree, which was admittedly very impressive. Also, it was over 2.5 miles, but that's it. The most exciting 2 miles over fences of the Punchestown week is underway. It is the Boys Sports Champion Chase. Grade 1 contest, 2 miles. Blink and you miss it. Under Sceaux leads by first time. He led by second time last year. He was last year's winner. Ordinary World is towards the inside. Min is close in third. Castle Grace Paddy is 4, and they're being followed towards the back of the field by Great Field, who's dropped in on this occasion. And last of all is Hell's Kitchen. They go up the hill on their way towards fence number 1, going up the climb, and towards the inside Ordinary World, towards the outside Under Sceaux. Min not going to give them any rope. He's right there on terms with them as they turn at the top of the track towards fences 2, 3 and 4, going away from the stands. Behind them in 4th spot and settling reasonably well at this early point in the race is Great Field. They're being followed by Castle Grace Paddy, and last of all is Hell's Kitchen. So out they go over the first of the fences down along the side of the track. It's Under Sceaux bidding to be the 7th dual winner of this race. Shower of Silver in the 50s, Muir, Skymass, Light the Wad in the early 80s for the late Desi Hughes, Claron Davis and Sizing Europe, the 6 that have managed to win this race twice, and the colours of Ordinary World in second were on board. Claron Davis, of course, for the Jones team. Up on the outside is Min, who sits disputing 2 and 3. They've gone away from Great Field. He's unbeaten over fences on his feet. He's won 5 from 7. He's come to the ground twice. They're being chased by the grey jacket of Castle Grace Paddy, colours of Draconian, successful in a Grade 1 contest on this card last year of Clipper Logistics. And last of all is Hell's Kitchen. Mark Walsh aboard for Harry Fry. So now they make their way towards the third of the fences, bringing them away, and Under Sceaux got tight to that one, but organised himself out of it. Min is sitting in second, and third is Ordinary World, and they're being chased by Great Field as they turn into the back straight. It is the mighty Under Sceaux, who twice in his life has finished out of the first 2. It's an extraordinary record. June 2016 and the Cheltenham Festival, he has never finished out of the first 2 other than those 2 exceptions, and these 2 are already drawing clear. An intriguing contest. Under Sceaux and Min take them along. Patrick Mullins was about Under Sceaux last year. It's Paul Townend who has the pleasure this afternoon over from Min, and Ruby Walsh in second. They're being chased in third by Great Field. Ordinary World already somewhat feeling the pinch as they go midway along the back straight and on towards fence number 6. 11 and all to be jumped, and it is Under Sceaux who comes to it. He's on springs. Min just came up a little early, landed down on top of it, didn't lose much ground. Great Field is third. They're just getting away from Ordinary World. Hell's Kitchen is trying to move up on the outside of Castle Grace Paddy as they make their way towards the final ditch along the back straight. Under Sceaux, he's so quick with his feet. Min is second. They're being chased in third by Great Field. Ordinary World's niggled along. Castle Grace Paddy and Hell's Kitchen trying to come off them as they make their way now on the turn past the 5 furlong pole. They have 4 ahead of them, and Under Sceaux leads them round from Min, who still goes well on his tail. Great Field is back in third. Ordinary World, Castle Grace Paddy and Hell's Kitchen the back 3, turning down along the side of the track. When they jump the 4th last, they'll have a half a mile ahead of them, and Under Sceaux is rolling away off the front. Min sits right on a slipstream in second. They're just getting away now from Great Field in third. Then towards the outside, Hell's Kitchen, Ordinary World and Castle Grace Paddy. This is 4 from the finish. No room for error now. Under Sceaux is over. Min is within a length now. Back in third is Great Field, and they're being followed by Hell's Kitchen, making their way now towards the fence before the turn in. 3 to jump. Under Sceaux leads Min. Back in third is Great Field. Castle Grace Paddy is next. Now they go towards the fence before the turn in. Under Sceaux on the inside, Min the outside. Under Sceaux marginally the quicker as they turn towards home. There's 2 to 3 lengths opening up from Min in second. They've drawn clear from Great Field. Now they begin to turn towards home in the Boys Sports Champion Chase, and it's a familiar sight. It's Under Sceaux. He's put them all in trouble. He's put Min in trouble as well as they go towards the second last. It's Under Sceaux and Min. It was a 2-horse race in the market. It is that as we see them head towards the second last. It's Under Sceaux by 2. Comes to the second last over from Min in second, making their way towards the final fence. It's the Willie Mullins pair clear as they go towards the last. It's Under Sceaux. Min has no answer at this point in time. They're clear from Castle Grace Paddy, but it's Under Sceaux who comes to the final fence for the O'Connell family. It's clear from Min, and as they race up towards the line, he was foot perfect 12 months ago.
Sceaux who becomes the 7th champion chaser to do back-to-backs, and it's Sceaux who wins. Min has to settle for second, a long way back to third. That's going to be Castlegrace Paddy, who takes that from Greatfield, and they were followed in by Hell's Kitchen, and Ordinary were the last to go by. But what a racehorse. Twice in his life he has finished out of the first two. He's the 7th horse to win the Boyle Sports Champion Chase for a second time. Paul Townend aboard. Willie Mullins trains the colours of Edward O'Connell.
Oh, what a race. What a horse. What a horse. He's 11 years old. He was conceding 3 years, and he's done it in style. He put it up to Min, and he beat him.
Oh, he beat him fair and square. He stretched him every step of the way. Paul gave him a great ride. Ruby tracked him all the way. But you can see from the fourth last that this horse was going to stretch him. He gets 2.5 well. So does Min. But for the time they turned in, you knew Min was in trouble. This horse just kept pulling it out. He was back to his very best. Loved a bit of knees in the ground. Min has run a cracker as well too, just not good enough. This is an iron horse, this little fella. He's brought his prize money to 1,600,000. Min didn't do anything wrong. He just bellied one down the back, which knocked the stuffing out a bit. Paul got a great tune out of Sceaux in front. Altior beat him there at Sandown earlier on in the year, and then he only ran the once when he ran at Cheltenham over 2.5. Maybe ground didn't suit him. He's back to his best here today, and what a horse he is. What a horse he has for the O'Connells. 11-4, 13-8 on Min. Min was great at Liverpool, but this fella exposed him pretty good here today. We'll go to the winning jockey.
Yeah, here I am with Paul. Paul, that must have been some feeling.
It was, Katie. It was some adrenaline rush, I'll tell you that much. He was brave as a lion now, and I asked him plenty of questions. The fuel tank was running out a little bit to the last, and do you know, after asking a horse so many times, probably the wrong thing to do is do the opposite of what you have been doing, but he figured it out for himself, and what a warrior.
Do you know what, Paul, though? This is some steed. 11 years of age, the enthusiasm. You know, he's been good to so many people. He's been so good to Ruby. He's been good to Patrick here last year. Yourself, the O'Connells. To get a buzz like that, I mean, can you put into words what something like that means? And here in Punchestown as well.
The horse, likes him as a horse of a lifetime. Like the same as the lad you're on. We all had good days in him. And but to keep the way he races, to keep coming out and putting in performances like that, I was actually worried when I got to the start that he was a bit dead in himself doing the parade and all that. But the second he came out by the last fence, when we were going lining up, next thing he's alive underneath me, and oh, that was some buzz.
Come here, you've Albion photo tomorrow, Matt. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to throw my leg back across him. I think it'll be a different tempo to that race, but no, look, he's given me probably my biggest day in racing so far, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, great season, Paul. Well done, champion jockey, and well deserved.
Thanks, Katie.
Great champion, great man, everything about it. This is a proper result and a real horse. What a brave horse he is. He's got a very quick stride, but a very clean stride, and he just wants more all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's an iron horse, that's what he is. I just watched him walk around the ring, 34 or 5 runs. His legs are as clean as the day he was born. He's a beautifully sound horse. Pierre Boulard picked him up in France. And what a judge he is too, and Harold Kirk. And he's given the O'Connells. I mean, this is a horse of a lifetime. I mean, for anybody to have a horse like him, to ride him, to train him, the girl that rides him out every day, Virginia, everything about him he's magic, because he's one of them little terriers that just wears his heart in his sleeve. He buzzes around in a gallop. He gives everything in his race. You saw watching him win a maiden hurl here many years ago. I thought he wouldn't last 5 or 6 seasons. He'll run himself to death, but he is an iron horse. And a great season for Paul. He gets a great belt about him here again. And as good as Min was, that was 3 out. Little horse got 3 or 4 lengths on him there. He's gone. All of a sudden he has Min at it here. Quality horse. A light season as well. Full marks to Willie. He only ran against Altior, and then he only ran. He spared him through all the good ground. Didn't chance him until he got ease in the ground here again. And they minded him. And the O'Connells behind him as well too. And they've been justly rewarded. Here he is, the second last. Tracy's with connections.
Yes, I'm with Paul O'Connell here, and I think you're just sort of recovering after that. What a fantastic performance. I mean, he is sensational, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's something else. We're speechless. I mean, I no words really, at this stage. We just can't believe it. We you know what I mean? He just doesn't seem to, understand about anything bar, just out in front. This is what I like, and this is my show, and yeah.
He's a horse of a lifetime, and to have the enthusiasm that he still has after all the runs he's had, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, how many years is he going now, and you know, we don't mind if he wants to take it easy. We're happy, you know, like he has done enough. No, he doesn't seem to be taking this on, but look, it's great. We're delighted.
I mean, to be going for 6 years, and I mean, he enjoyed every single second of it. Paul was superb, wasn't he?
Oh, he was, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and Paul is having a great year, so yeah, another Cockman as well, so yeah, we're thrilled. Yeah.
Very memorable days. This is going to be one of the very, very special ones. Go and welcome him in, Paul. Well done, well done.
That's a welcome, a real welcome, and how well deserved. There is Willie Mullins. He'll be happy with the result as well. The 1-2, and
the man who picked him out in the back there with the orange coat on, that's Pierre Bullard. Pierre is the man in France who sources all these horses. Harold goes over then and gives them the once over, and Willie gives it the go ahead. And what a shrewd purchase they've made over the years. Many, many great horses. Vatour, Duvan, Sceaux. Just to name 3 of them.
Very good. Well, I mean, what a shame that Duvan's not still around, but or not here today. But you know, another great horse.
You'd want to have your quick ones on you to beat him today. He never missed a beat every step of the way.
Got close to 1 or 2, I thought.
Yeah. Min looked like he had him covered a long ways out, but this fella just kept pulling it out. Punchestown crowd, even though it's raining, well gathered around to give him a good round of applause and a welcome back.
Just likes to get his toe in a little bit. He's a son of Denham Green, who's by Pamper Bird. Another
French.
Yeah, he is. Paul is champion for the second year, for the second time in his career, and what a great championship it's been with Rachel Blackmore. I think she's on 89. Paul must be on 100 and what something, and they've given us huge pleasure.
And the O'Connell family too, great for them too. They're just outside Cork City, between Fermoy and Cork there, I think in Glanmore maybe, I'm not 100% sure of that, but they're sponsored the Hilly Way Chase there for years in Cork itself too. Their father as well too, and a great supporter, and been with Willie for years, and this horse is and they bring the crowd, they're supporting, the scarves on him, the whole lot they get. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Ted, when this horse was young, he was exuberant, wasn't he? Do you know, he just had to be checked a little bit, just to...
They never checked him. He just learnt himself.
Did he?
Nobody ever done a thing with him. The same girl rides him all the time. He just got older and got wiser and decided, I'll take things a little bit easier. I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Because I remember him, I think here or in Punchestown, and he went quick. Here's Salian.
I'm down here with Willie Mullins, but also with Virginie Bascop, because it has to be said, Virginie, you ride this horse every morning. We'll just have a quick word with you. We'll make Willie wait for a change. But Virginie, this horse has been unbelievable for you, and you were in tears afterwards, but I understand why.
I just love him to bits. You know, I spend nearly every day of my life with him for the last 6 years. So I have to add, you know, let's not forget Solik, because he looks after him. I ride him out every day, and we make a good team, and he's the most lovable pony in the world.
I know you were very happy, and your arms get longer every morning, because Sceaux is not the easiest horse to ride.
No, he's not the easiest, but I think we got to know each other, and fair play to say that it seems to work.
Yeah, it definitely seems to work, Willie. Well, would that be your verdict?
It does. I mean, they go off and do their own thing in the morning, and I might say to her, do a half speed or a canter, but I think Sceaux and Virginie make up their own mind what they do, and they sometimes I'm there and I think this thing goes by me, and all right, yeah, well,
I've been there some mornings, and I think it's Sceaux who makes the decision.
I think so. He's an incredible horse for 11-year horse in a Grade 1 race like that. I think he's probably older than 2 hunt horses that let him in, so he is. So, and Paul thought he was dead underneath him at the start, and he said the minute he faced him for the tape and lined up, he said he just came alive and gone. So you'll probably get a chance to talk to Paul later on and see what he said.
I was down at the start, and I can tell, I thought Paul was nearly going to break the start. He came round the bend so fast coming into the start. Sceaux wasn't waiting for anybody today.
That's what Paul said. He said he'd be the passenger for 3/4 of the way, and that's a great feeling for a jockey, just to be on a machine been like that, sitting up there, coming down to fences, you know, bang, 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 and just hitting them right. And even when I think he might have met two of them wrong, and the horse just did a little dance in front and flicked out over it, you know, so that is a huge feeling for a jockey. So,
and Min didn't disgrace himself in second, but today was Undisso's day.
It was. I mean, Undisso has come here a fresh horse compared to Min. Min had a very hard race in Aintree, and you know, maybe Min needs an extra half mile at this stage of his career. I don't know. I actually thought Undisso needed an extra half mile, but anyhow.
That's the beauty of horses, Willie. We never stop learning. We never know everything.
Exactly. I think he's made me look a bit of a fool. I didn't think the ground was soft enough for him either, you know. So, but he's just come alive on the day, and probably a little bit of freshness was a help.
Okay, well done to all of you. Well done to the team for Undisso.
Thanks, Sally. Cheers.
Oh, what a great interview by Sally and Willie Mullins. Some great description, analogy of Undisso. 11 years of age, his 23rd career win, spanning back to when he won his maiden hurdle here as, in 2013, of course, he'd won a couple of races in France as well. But what a star for the O'Connell family from Glanmire near Cork City, ridden by the Corkman Paul Townend, who will be crowned champion here at Punchestown on Saturday. 4 lengths. He's beat his stable companion. Look at the price. It was 3-1. Best price in the ring. Returned 11-4. The second favourite beat the 13-8 favourite. No excuses in second. And third, number 1, Castle Grace Paddy at 20-1. But that success of Undisso just shows you why we love jump racing so much. A spectacular winner of the Bile Sports Champion steeplechase, and we'll be reflecting on another spectacular racehorse, a horse that needs no introduction. All I will say is Tiger Roll. We'll be looking back at his magic second consecutive success in the greatest jump race of them all, the Aintree Grand National, after the commercial break.